Franchisor versus franchisee. Who's really responsible for what? The franchisor is the architect. They create the system, the infrastructure, the blueprint, the foundation for the franchisee, which is the builder to get to work and use. I think the best way to look at a successful franchise relationship is to look at a successful marriage. It is very important that you are crystal clear of what the franchisor needs to do and is responsible for, and what the franchisee is responsible for. Hey everyone, welcome to Courtside Conversations. My name's Emile, founder and owner of Little Boomers Basketball, and it's a pleasure to be your host today. Wherever you're watching today's episode, I hope you're having a booming day, and yes, the pun is intended. My journey to entrepreneurship started on May 1st, 2018 when I launched my first basketball program with 9 kids enrolled. Today, thousands of kids across Australia are thriving in our programs, all thanks to the commitment and passion of our incredible franchisees. This podcast is here to give you real, straightforward, no BS insights into business, entrepreneurship, and what it's like to own a franchise. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Franchisor versus franchisee. Who's really responsible for what? That is a topic of today's episode on Courtside Conversation. Now, guys, if you're going to come into a franchise, right, it is very important that you are crystal clear of what the franchisor needs to do and is responsible for, and what the franchisee is responsible for. And I believe the reason why a lot of franchise relationships don't, or go south, I should say, is because at the start, the expectations weren't clear. The franchisee thought they were responsible for that. The franchisor thought that franchisee was responsible for that. So hopefully in this episode, I'm going to shed some light into the responsibilities. Now, I think the best way to look at a successful franchise relationship is to look at a successful marriage. And I look at my parents, God bless them, 25 years together, married, which in nowadays, is very rare, especially with the divorce rate going up. And I look at them and like, well, why are they so successful? How have they gone through 25 years of a lifelong marriage? I believe the expectations, they are on the same page with everything, right? They've discussed everything. They're on the same page. And when issues come up, which issues do come up in a marriage and as they do in a franchise relationship, they discuss these issues openly and honestly, and their communication is high, right? Compared to marriages that go south, there's problems, there's issues, there's no discussions, everything stays beneath the carpet, and then there's hidden resentment, and then boom, it blows up. So I believe the key to a successful franchise relationship is making sure each party knows their responsibility, and when issues do come, which believe me, it's inevitable, right? Every franchise relationships are going to have problems that arise. There needs to be a really good communication method, okay? Now, let's go over the responsibilities. I want you to visualize this. The franchisor is the architect. What does the architect do? They create the blueprint. They create the structure and the foundation of the business. That's the job of the franchisor. The franchisee, they're the builder. They used what the architect created, all the beautiful systems and the foundation, and they go to work in building the brand in their local community. So that's what I want you to think of. Franchisor is the architect, franchisee is the builder. Now, I'm a franchisor for Little Boomers Basketball. Let's go over what the responsibilities are of the franchisor. And the first one, and it's first and most important, is the franchisor must protect the brand and recruit the right franchisees. Why is this important? I want to give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting with my cousin and she was telling me about this awful experience she had with a sandwich place, and she got food poisoning and she was hospitalized and she was in the hospital for 3 days. And she said to me, Emile, I've never felt like this before. Like I literally thought I was going to die. I thought I wasn't going to get through this. Now, I'm not going to say what this business was, but it is a franchise. Now, when I heard this story, you know what I thought straight away? I'm like, man, I ain't eating, because I actually eat at this restaurant sometimes. I was thinking, I am not going through any of those retail restaurants or those restaurants or sandwich places again, because I really got petrified by the story. And just by hearing that story, imagine the image it's tainted on me and potentially other customers, right? So the job of the franchisor is to protect the brand. right? And to bring on the right franchisees, because if the franchisor is not bringing in the right franchisees that's going to elevate the brand, and they're just bringing in anybody without going through any recruitment process, any selection process, they're just bringing anybody that's got the liquid capital cash, guess what's going to happen? The brand's going to suffer. And what happens if the brand suffers because they're bringing in the wrong franchisees? All the other franchisees are going to suffer. Like I give a great example to my franchisees. I currently run a location in Canterbury Bankstown, right? The nearby location to me is Liverpool. Let's say I'm not doing a great job delivering my basketball program to parents in Canterbury Bankstown, right? And parents are seeing the poor quality that I'm offering. Parents love to talk. If they talk to other parents in Liverpool, is that Liverpool franchisee going to suffer with parents not enrolling? 100%, right? The word gets around, poor classes, the coaches aren't good, the quality of the program isn't good. Word will get around and the Liverpool franchise will suffer. That's why it's so important that the franchisor protects the brand and recruits the right franchisees. That's responsibility number one. The next responsibility of the franchisor is to build the systems and the infrastructure for the franchisee to use, right? We build all those systems and infrastructure that you can leverage and that you can use. For example, for my business, Little Boomers Basketball, we've spent close to hundreds of thousands of dollars on our website to give a really easy to use front-end website for our parents. But we also spend a lot of money on the back end of our website so that franchisees can manage their enrollments, see their class times, transfer parents to another class. All of that infrastructure costs us, the franchisor, a lot of money, and we're constantly innovating it every year to make sure we're giving the best systems and infrastructure for the franchisee. Next responsibility of the franchisor is to engage in network-wide marketing. So it's a job of the franchisor to do network-wide marketing. That's more of a national marketing. And what we do is we invest in social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on all the big platforms posting 25 times a month. We do ads online, meta ads. We also do Google ads. We have a company that does SEO, search engine optimization. That's our responsibility. So we take care of all the network-wide marketing to make sure that franchisees are receiving the brand exposure. The other job of the franchisor is to innovate new products and services and to adapt to the marketplace. That's the job of the franchisor, right? Because in today's day and age, things are changing literally every month. A business plan for 1 year doesn't do the job anymore. You need to have a business plan for 3 months and you need to be revising it every 3 months. So it's the job of the franchisor to see what the marketplace is and to adapt their product and services and offer new product and services that meet where the marketplace is going. The other responsibility of the franchisor is to offer support in aiding the franchisees and to help them scale their business. Now, here is where it gets grey. When I mean offer support, right, there's a bit of a catch-22 here. Yes, the franchisor offers support and helps the franchisee scale their business, but they don't do the work for them. And you need to understand that, right? You, the franchisee, are responsible, and we're going to go over that in a bit, for growing the business, for doing all the footwork, all the hard work, the groundwork. The franchisor helps you. They put a plan together for how to grow and scale your business, but they don't actually do the work for you. You cannot expect the franchisor to do the work for you. They will support you, create a plan to build up your business, but you need to do the work for you. So just understand that. If you want to do the work, if you don't want to do the work, just start your own business. Don't do a franchise. And a lot of people get that mixed up. They think that support means somebody doing the work for them. That's not the case. So make sure we understand that. The other responsibility, team, is it's the job of the franchisor to host ongoing franchisee training workshops, right? It's important that the franchisor is hosting regular training workshops. Now, we do 2 workshops a year. Our next one's coming up on April 27th. We do our annual peak performance coaching clinic. This is where all coaches and franchisees in New South Wales get together for a training workshop. We do a bit of a team bonding and culture exercise with all the franchisees and coaches. And then we update all the curriculum. So we introduce new activities and new basketball drills coming to the curriculum. And we do that all on our training day. So that's something that the franchisees receive from us. Finally, team, it's the job of the franchisor to be reasonable and open about all fees that are incurred in the franchise. Now, a good franchisor is gives franchisees notice about upcoming fees. For example, for us, there's a fee for the training fee, the peak performance coaching clinic. There's a small fee that gets divided amongst all the franchisee. If you have a support field officer, which a lot of franchise systems do, there's usually a small fee for that when the support field officer goes to your location. A good franchisor gives franchisees notice, which I give a month and a half notice to all my franchisees so they can plan for these expenses. And they're also open. They don't just bill someone. They don't just bill a franchisee. They're open and transparent about all the fees that occur into the system. So team, that's the responsibility of the franchisor, the architect. Let's move now to the responsibility of the franchisee, which is the builder. They use all the systems and the infrastructure that the architect has created and they go to work. So the first one and the most important responsibility of the franchisee is to maintain and enhance the brand image. If you're coming into a network as a franchisee, you are responsible. You have got a responsibility to maintain and enhance the brand image. And I want you to know something. If you don't maintain the brand image and you're not delivering the best service, that's the job of the franchisor to come in and say, hey, we're not doing this right. We need to fix this. Otherwise, X, Y, Z. And I'm experiencing that at the moment in our business. We recently did a field visit at a franchisee's location and it wasn't up to scratch. There was some things missing. There was no marketing. There were some things with the coaching class that weren't going correctly. And overall, it wasn't up to our level of standard. Now, me and us, the franchisor, it's our job to get that franchisee back up to the level of standard that we operate. And the franchisee must maintain and enhance that brand image. Because remember, like I said before in my example, if the image suffers, right? It's a little bit like cancer. If the image or the brand suffers in one location, it's going to spread to other locations. And overall, the reputation of the brand is going to go down. Hey, just quickly, if you're enjoying today's episode, it will mean the world to me if you can leave a positive review or share it with a friend that may benefit from this. I've also put some bonus resources in the description, including a real franchise case study that you can download under our Franchise Success Blueprint. Hope you find it useful. Enjoy the rest of the episode and rock on. Adios. So if you're a franchisee, you need to maintain and enhance the brand image. Second thing, it is your job to grow the brand in your local community to the best of your ability, right? And a lot of franchise agreements have something called an MPR, minimum performance requirements. You need to make sure that you're putting in the minimum performance requirements to meet this business, to grow this business. And for me, when I'm looking at recruiting a franchisee, I want to know what's their plan to expand the business. Like if a franchisee comes or a potential franchisee says to me, look, I'm just trying to do this as a side hustle. I'd love just to do weekend classes, maybe here and there alongside our main job. To be honest, I'm not interested in that because I want somebody that's not going to treat this business as a side hustle, because when you treat it as a side hustle, you get side hustle results. I want someone that's going to come in here and rapidly expand Little Boomers and offer multiple locations, multiple days. So it's your job as a franchisee to grow the business. And I want to give you this classic example. Like, this is unbelievable, right? A couple of weeks ago, I follow the Bulldogs and I watch the NRL. We went to a local NRL game in Belmore and there was about 20,000 people coming to this game in Belmore, right? Now, Belmore doesn't get this much foot traffic at all, but once a year when there's a home game at the Bulldogs, there's about 20,000 foot traffic come in. And all the stores there, like the local stores, the restaurants, all of those are pumping before the game because there's 20,000 people coming down to watch a game. Now, when the game finished, all these people flooded to the main streets to go to the restaurants to party and to celebrate. I was staying in this juice place. I was there. I wanted to get a juice. And I'm looking at this juice restaurant and they've employed one 15-year-old to handle all the juices. And there's about 5-6 people waiting in line. Somebody told me that they've been waiting 30 minutes for a juice. And there's all these people outside the restaurant. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this owner knew there was a home game on a Sunday. There was 20,000 people. Belmore's never going to experience that amount of foot traffic in the year. And he did the bare minimum of employing one 15-year-old. The poor thing, he was under the pump when he could have employed multiple people, had 4 or 5 people, had people outside giving shirts, giving free juices, promoting the brand, knowing that there's such a great exposure. But instead, he decided to do the bare minimum, which I'm just going to employ one 15-year-old and that's going to be it. And I was shocked. So use that example, guys, to make sure that you're doing the minimum performance requirements and you're doing everything you can to expand and grow your brand. That's another role and responsibility of the franchisee. The other responsibility, team, is the franchisee's job is to follow the systems and the infrastructure that's been set up by the franchisor. You guys don't have to reinvent the wheel. Don't go rogue and try something else. The franchisor, the architect, has built the systems and infrastructure. It's your job as a franchisee to follow that. The other one is to engage in local area marketing. And that's very important. Remember, the franchisor does network-wide marketing, but you as a franchisee need to do the local area marketing. And for us in Little Boomers, it's going out to the schools, going out to the daycares, going out to the shopping centers and promoting your brand locally. Another responsibility of the franchisee is to offer recommendations to the franchisor. See the word that I'm using? It's recommendations for how to improve the system, but also to engage in pilot programs. And a lot of good franchise systems reward high-performing franchisees by letting them engage in pilot programs and getting feedback from the franchisees. And that's something we're doing right now. We're looking at rolling out a new booking system called our rollover membership system. And our 3 high-performing franchisees are going to be engaging in the pilot of this exciting new program and giving feedback to the franchisor. Finally, team, the role of the franchisee is to pay their royalty fees and any other fees that are owing. And unfortunately, in any franchise agreement, a lot of things go to court because franchisees don't pay their royalty fees, they don't pay their rent, they don't pay their suppliers. You need to make sure that you're paying your bills on time, and a good franchisor will give you enough time and notice, but you as a franchisee need to make sure that you're paying your fees on time. So team, that's really it. So to summarize, the franchisor is the architect. They create the system, the infrastructure, the blueprint, the foundation for the franchisee, which is the builder to get to work and use. Remember, before you come into any franchise agreement, clearly understand what your job as a franchisee is and what the franchisor is so that you don't run into these hurdles once the agreement has been signed. Team, in my next episode, next week, I'm going to be talking about the one thing you need to do that will guarantee you success in any business or franchise system. And I can't wait to share this with you. Thank you for tuning in.